20 years. For several years, we explored the extent of consciousness as best I could at that point, and it's been 16, 17 years since we last got together with the intention to, determine the nature of reality and our place in it. How about that? And so, Sophia, was there a particular subject you wanted to go, or shall I just go?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So when I called you the other night, I was going through an experience that I wanted to share with you, because there's only a couple of people I know that would have known what I was describing and be able to participate in it. And what was going on for me was, typically I get involved when I feel something energetically, a denseness or a pain or level of mental barrier discomfort. What I tend to do is engage it and then try to make it better, make it freer, dissolve it, have it move into a state of free flow, or freedom is the objective. But in going in and engaging the creations that we, the people, the places, the memories, the judgments, the ideas, the belief systems, those things that create our ego and our personality and our identity. If we engage in confronting those things directly with an intention to change them for the better, from a point where we're dissatisfied with who and what we are, then we have an endless task. It's like Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the mountain and the boulder rolling back down. And so if we're at a point where you've awakened so many times before and you say, okay, is now the time that I'm going to truly open up and be myself and express the truth of who I am here? And if that's the case, then it should be an easy process. It should be a free flow, actually. It should be just, as close as possible to a movement of grace. So the opening up, the unflowering, the flowering, the awakening, the unfolding, and that is a choice to open and to experience life and reality as it is. Now, each one of us has a consciousness that is trapped in its own unique way. It doesn't matter what your religion is, what your philosophy is, what your political point of view is. Everybody is almost equally solid and equally trapped within the mindset and the identity and the limitations that they've taken on for themselves, and especially with the judgments that we have of the others who are, wrong, the wrong race, the wrong political party, the wrong country, the wrong religion, whatever it is. We're solid, not free, when we're comparing and when we're judging. And so if we're going to remember, if we're going to re-experience the truth that sets us free, then what we're experiencing is our own unfettered, our own unfiltered consciousness or presence. Without the thoughts, without the belief systems, without the identity, with nothing impeding the free expression of consciousness and the opening into the channeling the realization of the potential that we've always known that we and the world has. And opening into and freely allowing that to express through us. So the process for doing that is dramatically different than confronting a limitation from a limitation identified level of consciousness. So at this point, when you're ready to open up and awaken completely, you simply go, it doesn't matter what you feel it, and then you go to the source of it. You go to what moved it into manifestation, what the form and structure, the intent behind that realized the creation, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if it's a person, a thought, a belief, an idea, an injury, a trauma. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, just move in a meditative way to go within and feel reality as it is. And so instead of confronting it, you willingly experience it. You willingly allow reality as it is to connect with you, to embrace you, to fully understand that you're open to experiencing life as it is. And when you do, there comes an experiential understanding of reality, and reality gets us and we get it. And that's when reality begins to move in a synchronized harmony with our truth, with our beingness, with our moving into the possibilities that we've always had and been waiting to decide when we're going to, open into seeing and being and expressing that potential. So feel what is. And you can feel everything simultaneously. You don't have to focus on one thing, but just feel with the feelings of your body. Feel the tensions, feel the tension, the pain, the suffering, whatever there is that is not in a free flow bliss. Then go to the source of what brought that into manifestation and be one with that. So when you move past the creation, when you move past the manifestation and you go to what brought that into being, and you go past that and go into the source, go back to the source, and merge with that until you're one with it. At the point that you fully merge and become one with the source of reality as it is, then it's you. And then from that level of consciousness, not the one that's trying to break out of here to open up and redeem himself and be saved, but when you go and sit with the source consciousness of the reality that you're experiencing in this moment, that's where you awaken. And you awaken as source consciousness. And then when you come back to your life and merge that with the body, then that's when the transformation happens. And so you're surrendering at the same time you're self-realizing. At the same time you're taking, you're infinitely surrendering and infinitely taking responsibility at the same time. So take a moment and notice what there is in you that's less than the goddess here, blissfully expressing herself through what she's created. Right? Who's the goddess against? Nobody. Why? She loves everyone and everything. because she sees in them their divine truth. And she understands that everybody's trapped in their own unique way. And all they really needed was a muse to inspire them to choose freedom for themselves from who and what they've been until now. And so you were my first muse. I think you probably were. And so,
Thank you. And now you're the muse.
Sometimes I am, and sometimes I'm just amusing or something or other. But let's say this: the you that I know, the you beyond the personality and the identity, the goddess, just a being who's willing to open up into goddess consciousness. That's such an inspiring thing for somebody else to see and to experience, to feel, because they can't hold on to the lies that they're carrying on within themselves, because the truth is so magnificent and such an identifier of, in terms of reminding them that what they're observing in you is also their truth. They're waking up because they're observing the divine flowing freely through you. So the message that I had for you is, if I could be the one to tell you when the time is, why not try it right now? Why not be the eternal you now? So please, because I know when you're fully awakened, I can't hold on to my identity that's false, that's created, that's been a collective creation, so to speak. I picked up half of who I am from other people's opinions and the other half from my own, from a state of not knowing. So so when you're moving around like that, and yet you've had extraordinary experiences, then when somebody else is moving freely and openly and without opposition, not coming in judgment and anger, but the opposite, coming in, the celebration has begun.
Yeah.
So that's what I've most enjoyed about you, seeing you move beyond the where we all stick ourselves, and come up out of that and say, hey guys, I'm free. Is anyone going to join me? And of course, maybe we were all too chicken to before, but I think that's changed now. And I think it's time that you get back to leading instead of following or caring about what anyone else does. Because to me, there is nobody more interesting. There is nobody that's ever been more interesting to me than you at your best.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Age is fun. Aging is fun.
Well,
it's easy when you're your best when you're 35.
A
little different than 53.
Yeah. So let's take a look at that, because we're both dealing with the same thing. We met almost 20 years ago, and back then you thought I was old then. So
I thought I was old then.
Yeah, I know.
I felt super old.
Okay, so let's take a look at our bodies. And so the way you asked that question was asking me to observe reality as it is and agree that that's the way it's going to continue. But I would say let's not look at that direction, and let's look instead at taking the first step, an awakening within the body fully, and then seeing how quickly and easily the body moves into harmonizing with the opening of the consciousness, so that the body is in full support of that, because it's our lack of a free flowing consciousness where we're over identified that creates the damage to the bodies that make it difficult to be here fully conscious. So the cure for the limitations of the bodies is the awakening within them. So we don't want the body to be perfect and our consciousness to be just one of the collective. We want our consciousness to transcend to its, not just its potential, but to its truth, to the truth that is transcendent, and then from there own that consciousness within the experience of our body. And that marriage, that heaven and hell coming together in the same time and space, is what transmutes the lies of the, what creates identity and lower consciousness. So it's not so much that we're getting rid of an ego, we're just removing unconsciousness. We're just deleting lies, things that were held on to because we didn't know. And so as soon as you start looking for experts, as soon as you start looking for truth, that's because you've experienced yourself as a limitation, and you know now that you don't know, and you're hoping that somebody else is the source and that they can save you. That doesn't work. It does and it doesn't. It's a paradox, because it's impossible not to awaken in the presence of a divinely of a divine consciousness. You can't hold yourself back, and it's too irresistible an invitation. You either have to run away or dissolve into divine bliss until there's nothing there but you and your bliss and your consciousness and your presence that's transcendent. And so that's what will change the world, is your awakening within your body at a level of consciousness. I shouldn't say that, because anything measuring is polarized and comparative and competition, but people set up standards where they say it was Jesus and nobody can do it like he did, or it was Buddha, or it was Krishna, or it was Muhammad, or somebody was the guy or the girl, and you have to believe and you have to trust that that's the truth, because you don't know it and you don't embody it and you can't see it or even understand it. And none of that's right and none of that's true, because the only way you get out of here is through the truth that sets you free. And that's the experiencing of your own transcendent free expression, both in consciousness and energy and identity. Because there's always an identity, until you're spread across the universe, especially when you're perceiving through a life, you're that story, but at the end of the hero's journey where you came back to yourself, you won. You became one. You're the Omega came home, right? To meet again with the Alpha. but you're doing it.
Alpha
But you're doing it before death. You're not waiting until you die to do it this time. You're doing it in body. So you're marrying the transcendent and the profane within the expression of yourself. And it's not a war. It's a rescue mission, so to speak. It's the actual saving. And what you're doing is by your surrender, by your responsibility, by your merging with reality as it is, you allow reality to unwind through you. And so creation could be termed an unwinding we have a guest, Techno Geek. At any rate, we have an unwinding of reality through our experience of ourselves. When we go to Source, connect with Source, and then allow ourselves to awaken there, and then feel reality as it is, and reality just opens as you open. And it unwinds, and all the solidities and all of the unconsciousness and all of the unbearable judgments that reality has of itself just all relax out of creation, because none of it mattered. I mean, that whatever games we were playing, we don't have to continue on with. We can say, good, I'm done with that. And whoever's awakened, whoever's awakened and free, that's who I want to spend some time with. Because that's where I find freedom myself. You find freedom when you're coming out of the mud, so to speak. You find your freedom when through associations with good friends, right? With those who truly wish the best for you, with those who support your effort and would celebrate your success. So the first thing that you have to do in the little bit of doing that you do is you have to remove yourself from people that are lost and dense, and you have to take responsibility for yourself. You have to take responsibility for your life. You have to keep doing whatever you have to do to support your body and pay your bills and everything. But the rest of your consciousness should be focused on experiencing the source of reality and allowing the experience of a dense reality, your dense reality, your own embodied complex creation of you, to unwind through your focused awareness on the source that created it, and not focused on that as a separation, but focused on that as an experiential participation in it. Okay, so whatever we're feeling, we don't even need to judge it, because it doesn't matter. We just go to the source. If whatever we're feeling isn't a free flow, isn't something that we delight in, then we just go to source and hang out. And then it frees from with it. Pardon me?
So that is the trick.
Yeah.
To go to source so that you stoke your fire, your starlight. In the face of adversity.
Yeah.
That's always what the frontline warriors, we have to be able to go up face to face with the devil.
Yeah.
And then shine our light. And the way we shine our light is we go to that into the center, and we situate ourselves there so that we shine so brightly, and we just light them up. All their darkness just gets worked out.
Yes.
But we have to be face to face. We have to be face to face with the beast, and not fall into that mirrored reflection.
Yeah,
and
but take it one step more so that it's not difficult and it's not where you have to be careful in how you do it. So you take it up another level of consciousness, go to the source of where going free is difficult. Sit with the source of what made being a free consciousness difficult here. Difficult for you. What is it that shuts you down? Feel it. Be at peace with it and go to the source that created it and be one with that source. And in that embrace, we're saved. And as we feel our troubles burning away, dissolving away, just falling into nothingness, then there's a point where you wake up enough, where you meet yourself fully. There's no more missing parts of you. You're not fractured and fragmented anymore. Your higher self and your embodied self are the same. There's no more separation of you. Your fullness is you. Your wholeness is you. And you just let that happen. It doesn't take effort. It just takes allowance. You just have to say yes, and even though you've always said no before. So I appreciate your letting me talk so much, because you're the one that I know really knows. And, sometimes I feel sad that you're not, shaking the earth awake like I know you could.
No. This Earth Awake thing, I believe me, you're working with a lot of people right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not something, I'm having to spoon feed stuff, because what's coming out right now, this is going to shock people. They're going to actually go into shock. And so with Obamagate
on those.
So people are going to get a shock away, and then we're going to show up to be there to catch them. So that's why we're being called right now to be ready to work with a lot of people.
I understand that, and all I'm suggesting is that we explore every opportunity to continue to transcend our limitations, so that our ability to make that story, have a beautiful, happy ending. That's our objective.
And I came from the future. This story, this is going to be the most incredible experience that you've ever had. I just want you to know that. This is going to be the most incredible. We are being freed right now from a frequency control that's been on the planet for thousands of years. And so it's like, you don't even know that you're like the mule that from the time it was born and stood up, you had a pile of hay on your back that was so large that you could fit 10 of you inside of it. And you always buried that. They never took it off. So now we're going to have that removed. In literally the press of a button, the AI is coming down. And so when that happens, everyone is going to be going through this incredible awakening. It's called the Great Awakening. That's what it's called. It's called that in all the books that are sitting there in front of me. It's called that in my channeling. It's been called that for you know what I mean, this point in time, this timeline, that's
Yes.
that's what's happening right now.
Yes.
We came from different parts of the galaxies, and I mean, you know what I mean? So timeline, it's mind lines, you know, it doesn't,
Right.
that's really not what it means. Timeline is a narrative. So we came to this narrative to get front row seats to watch it go down and to actually catch up on it before it went down. So we knew what we were seeing.
Yes.
So we spent, you know, I spent 25 years learning the gruesome truth. And I mean, it was a hard pill to swallow.
Yes,
You
yes.
know?
But I, and that's
tough,
what I'm,
tough one.
that's what I'm saying is that from an outsider looking at that, you know, we have to allow that to change as quickly as it's willing to for the better. And
you can just choose. You can choose whatever timeline you wish. So choose the highest timeline. That's all I say. Is you
Yes.
choose the highest timeline. And we have the ability, because I'm an ambassador between the lower brain and the higher brain.
Yes.
So there's a middle brain in there, and I'm a middle brain ambassador. So I like help in the, you know, we talked about the other day the reptilian brain, which is the lower brain, is bridged through the middle brain to the higher brain, and that bottom one is that's 3D. Then the middle brain is 4D. That's, you don't really stay in the middle brain. It's your transition point to the higher brain, and that's 4D. Then 5D is the higher brain. When you conceptualize and create from the higher brain, that's when you're in the fifth dimension. So you don't vacillate between the two. You don't go down anymore to the reptilian brain and to the fight or flight, and then jump back up. We don't have that so much in that bipolar disorder anymore. That was created by the frequency control. So this is where we're going. The planet itself is going through this herself, Hera.
Okay.
She's going through this transition herself. So we are on it. We're her children, and we are connected to that frequency that's around her. So that affects us. So we are being taken on a ride of our lives. We're being lifted into the fifth dimension, and it means a lot of shit's gonna come up. It means we're gonna remove the wool from our eyes. We're going to be freed from a planet that was 50% AI. 50%. Can you believe that? It's 50 fucking percent. I used to call them holographic inserts. No, they're clones and clones of clones, and there's a lot of them have no soul. So this stuff has to be removed. That's why the revolt happened. That's why see how that's perfect tipping of scales. We had this entire time. Once it got to the point where we were like 50-50, that's when it all happened, when it started. That's when it's like, well, either have to push back or else they'll take over.
Okay, so
that's where this timeline comes in.
So for you,
we're taking a higher timeline, but we can pull people up. We can help people that are stuck on a lower timeline because they don't know how to create their reality.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that here for me.
Okay.
If whatever you can see or perceive or observe that is a blind spot for me, if you could just point it out to me, and
Okay. Yeah. So what you did is great, and it feels really complete. And when you're administering that information, if you can ask them to step into here, go ahead and try this, please do this, and give them some silent time for them to actually process through that in their head, in their brain, and
yes,
and it goes through their body. Well, and then go into your next one. You were kind of going fast.
Yeah, I was going too fast, and yes.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I was listening to everything, and I was taking it all in, and I was doing it. So there was a couple times where I wanted to keep going further, and it wasn't going to take very long. Most of them won't take more than 10 seconds. I need to introduce you to my friend Karen Weiser.
Okay.
You guys need to do a session with maybe take it through, go through each question, and then when you want them to process through that, give them a little bit of space to do that.
Yes, because I need to do it. I need to do it myself, and so I was a little bit concerned about, because this isn't for somebody to be entertained like they're watching a program. This is for somebody to participate in so that they can move through their own barriers into their, being in charge of their own opening.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Exactly. Exactly. And you keep it really impartial. So that's really good. And you cover everything, and you give permission without directly saying, I give you permission. You give permission. And a lot of people, because we're dealing with an entire planet filled with people who are under some level of programming. So a lot of them need permission in order to do things, because they're all being babysat right now. So there's this little thing inside them that they believe they can't choose.
Yes.
They don't have permission.
Right.
So by you saying things the way you're wording them, you are giving permission where they didn't realize they had it.
Yes.
So I see how you're integrating the sovereignty thing into that. So you too are a middle brain ambassador. You work on the ground.
Yeah.
Ground crew, and so do I. But you really are made for that. You're going to be really good at it. People are going to respond really well, and you're able to bring them from that 3D.
Yes.
You also neutralize fear in your frequency, which gives them a safe space when you're working with them. It's like it literally comes out of your voice.
Oh, thank you.
So the vibration of your voice is extremely soothing, and it gives them a sense they can feel that you feel safe in that vibration. It actually goes through them, and it helps to it's like if they're just a bunch of vibrations and you're just a bunch of vibrations, you're maybe doing this with, I see you doing this with a lot of people over the phone like you're doing with me. And that's how that vibration makes it through them. It's actually embedded in your voice.
Yes.
Pretty cool. Yeah. And because that's a demon that you slayed. So you slayed that, and then so you hold that frequency, and once you are making that, that frequency is transmitted to them. Naturally, frequencies alter other frequencies. A wave, you throw a rock into the water, and it starts its little undulations. You throw one next to it, and then wherever they crash together, they're actually merging, and then they're going through each other.
That's right.
So it's just, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm seeing. So yeah, I'm really seeing that you two are also an ambassador to the middle brain. So you're going to help people from the 3D to 5D, and that makes perfect sense because that's what time it is on the planet. We just touched down in 5D. You were already in 5D, and that's why you were having a hard time grounding. Because we had to stay up there. Jackie had a dream the other night, right before the day that we made that big shift, and she had a dream that I had left, and I had gone up. And she was really crying and stuff. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to leave you here. So when it happened, I thought it was happening, and then I saw a specific master that I know who was holding the gate open for me, and I got in, and it was closing, and I thought, no, we have to wait for Jackie, please, and she wasn't here, and I was like, oh my God, I started getting really worried that she wasn't going to make it. She had that dream the night before, and then it happened, and it was so funny because everybody that was making the final jump, Adam, Dave, my other David's friend, all these just they didn't even know consciously that it was happening. I did. I was smashed between two panes of glass for 3 hours because I was moving through to anchor, and then Adam ended up taking mushrooms. He didn't even know that this was happening, and then when it did, he ended up. I ended up having to be on the phone with him. He's in Bali, right? So we're on
Right.
the time
Right.
with him. Anyway, so yeah, it was really incredible, and it's not that different, as you know, because we already hold that frequency, and so I've been back and forth so many times, just kind of tracking to see when that moment's going to be that the mass consciousness is going to teeter to the other side. I'm not going to try to push them up a hill. It would kill me, and it would kill. It's so intense. You know what I mean? I just needed to make sure my peeps were awake, that I knew I had come here with to do this with, and and everybody was pretty much awake. So they were all pretty much awake enough to be able to anchor this in, and then it was just a matter of hurry up and wait.
Yes.
And so we had everything in place. All that I came here to do was all in place. Everybody was in place, but we were like, when is it going to get strong enough that it's really going to happen? When there was alignment that needed to happen, So it's it was believed that they were going to try to make it happen like 20 years ago, but yeah, we thought it was going to be a lot sooner than this. So here we are.
Well, excellent.
So
where do we go
yeah,
from?
And
Where
so
do we?
we're just literally a couple days away, I believe, from this moment where we're going to snap awakening.
So,
It's really going to start.
would you ask your friend that you suggested we should have a session? What day would be good this week, if possible?
Yeah, no, she does a certain type of session. Maybe you guys, I don't know, maybe you guys could, I don't know, I just feel, I don't know, maybe you just want to have a session with her, or she can have a session with you. I think you should just talk.
We could switch up. We could
just say, yeah, I want you guys to meet.
We could swap.
And she does the clearing work with like invisible tools that I mean, the work that she has done has an equivalent result to what would have taken me so much work back like 20 years ago. And she used to do some other work as well. And then this was something she downloaded. And I ended up working with her, and she totally blew me away. And I was like, wow, this is the stuff like Johanna used to do. I used to do, but we used to do it with mushrooms and stuff. She was doing it with nothing, and the shit was clearing from wherever it was in your body, and it would like you might go into like some crazy contraction, and then she's like, she's like, okay, just hold it, you just stay in it, you just stay in it 100%. You don't even have to breathe into it, which that always was my thing. I'll breathe.
Right.
You don't have to do anything, because when you were going through it, you might not have been breathing. So you need to go through. It's recorded in your cells. So
yes.
It just needs to express itself one last time, and then it leaves.
Exactly.
And she's able to get that. She's able to really get in there. And she said, if my clients, if they have to come back to me for that same specific issue, I know I didn't do my job. So like for me, and she said most people only need five sessions, because we usually can get everything within 5 sessions, And I think I've done 4, and I was kind of thinking I wanted to do another session, but the other ones when I did them, I mean, shit would come up, and it was up. I mean, it was so easy. I would call her and be like, hey, I need to do a session as soon as you can, because this is up for me, and it's going to be really easy to capture it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And we'd go into it, and so far I haven't had anything like that again. And she even said, she goes, oh, when we do with me, she goes, for you, it's like we're only just cleaning stuff, bunnies. That's what she said about me. I'm like, oh, please. I don't think so. I think there's definitely stuff there. But anyway, she's great. She's one of us. She's been my friend since the desert. And she's actually over near you right now. Where are you? Because maybe you guys can meet up.
I'm in Gilbert, which is west of Phoenix. Pardon me,
Yeah,
east
right
of Phoenix.
somewhere.
Yes. Well, great. Well,
Okay.
and if she's in the county here, it'd be
I'm
nice.
not sure. Hold on, Karen. Okay. Okay. What's it called? Where are you?
Gilbert.
Gilbert.
So I'm gonna end off our recording now. We'll just keep talking, okay?
Okay.